This is Bharat FM.
बजेगा भारत झूमेगा भारत.
ये है भारत FM.
बजेगा भारत झूमेगा भारत.
असतो मा सद्गमय तमसो मा ज्योतिर्गमय मृत्युर्मामृतङ्गमय. ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः.
Namaskar, hello. A very warm welcome to everyone in the second episode of the Tree of Life Season 2. A big thanks to Bharat FM for providing us the platform to reach more audience globally. Today we are going to have a lot of fun with some serious conversation. There are some people in this world who bring smile to our faces with whatever they do, and even talking to them can cheer us up. Our guest today is one such person. She is Monisha Bhatia, joining us from Gurgaon, India. Monisha is already here. I would just bring her to the screen. Hello, Monisha. Welcome to the show. Great that you could take some time out of your busy schedule. It's my pleasure to have you here today.
Thank you. Thank you, Vivek.
So, we are going to have a conversation which will have a lot of fun and a lot of information. Feel free to join us by sending your messages and questions. Monisha is here and she will be happy to answer all those. So, Monisha, let's start today's conversation. You are into so many fields, bringing change in people's lives. So I thought it will take half the episode if I start describing. So we will hear it from you later. So let's start with a little bit of your life and background.
Yeah. Thank you, Vivek ji, for inviting me over to this show of Tree of Life. And I want to thank Bharat FM for giving us this platform. So I will tell you about my life. Basically, I'm from a family background of army people. My father is a retired colonel in the army, and my mother is a teacher. She's a retired principal from army public school. And we have moved to various places when I was young. So we used to stay in a particular place for a couple of years. Then we used to get posted. So that is why I have seen people from various backgrounds, from various states, and I can understand people's thinking, people's attitude. I think much better than any other normal person would be able to understand. And I grew up in a very loving family. My parents brought me up with lots of affection, and I was always a very introverted child. I think I have changed quite a lot. I was not like this earlier. I was a very introverted child. I have two siblings, and younger sibling is not there anymore. And I have an elder sibling, and my brother lives here only in Gurgaon, where I am settled. So I grew up in a very nice and fun-loving family. My father was very jovial, and he always made sure that we all should live in a very positive frame of mind. And I took things very lightly because of the attitude I used to observe in my father. And I learned lots of patience through my mother, because she's a very hardworking lady and full of patience. So many qualities, I think, by looking at my parents, I have developed in me, and that is how the story goes.
So, Manisha, there's one thing I notice about you. You are always very positive. Okay. How do you remain so positive all the time? Do you do something, or is it inbuilt, genetic? How it happens?
Yeah, Vivekji, I like to tell you that from my childhood only, I used to love cracking jokes and seeing things on the lighter side. That is, as I told you, due to my father only, because he was a very jovial person. So I think it's all genetical, and I never took things very seriously. And but yes, I was sensitive. It's not that I was not sensitive, but I also had this thought process of taking things lightly, and I knew that things are never going to remain same. So and then my father is a very good singer. I learned music from him, and I think whenever I used to feel low and whenever I used to feel sad, I used to just close my room and start singing songs, and that would like pacify me. So I think I have a very soulful connection with music, and that also gave me lots of cheerfulness and lots of happiness. And the other thing was that because I used to sit in silence when I was young. So whenever I was feeling little low, I would just sit in my silence all by being myself, and that would give me lots of energies. So other than that, I think that when I grew up, I learned that through spirituality also you can fix up many of your problems. So in my later ages, whenever I used to feel sad or down regarding something, I just used to read spiritual texts and listen to the spiritual lectures of gurus, and that would make me see things from the larger perspective, and that would cheer me up. So that is how I try to remain happy and cheerful.
Yeah. So you talked about music, and now I remember how we got connected. Do you remember how we got connected?
Yes.
You were mentioning about your father that you learned singing from him, and this was in one of the astrological groups where both of us are there.
Yes.
And you and I also sing a little bit. So I said, "Oh, this is one person who does so many things what I am also doing." And I wrote to you that uh, first time I mean, I said I found somebody who is of my takkar.
Yeah. No, no, you are quite a great person. You're a very
Yeah.
talented
So
person. I have heard your music. So it was good to connect with you.
and then we the people who don't know that we did couple of collaborations together. Like you were in Gurgaon and I'm here in Sofia, and we made couple of recordings together,
Thanks
collaborations.
to you. Thanks to you, you were able to make the
So
collaboration.
it was yeah, great fun doing all this. So I saw that you studied science. You are a master's in chemistry, and your life was going in certain path. When and how did you realize that the purpose of your life is actually to help people and bring positive changes in their lives?
Yeah, that's a very interesting question. So I will tell you about how it went this way. So I was just 15, I was in class ninth, and one fine day I happened to find a book on the table, which was reading as palmistry. So I was very intrigued by the book. I picked up the book and I started reading. So you must be thinking from where the book came. I'll just tell you. My father had come back from some travel as he was in the army. So probably on his way back to home, he must have bought that book just to while away his time. So I started reading that book, and I'm surprised that I was able to comprehend the contents of that book, and I ended up reading the entire book. And after that, there was no looking back. I'll tell you what happened. I went to my school and I started seeing the palms of my friends, and they were very excited about this. And slowly, this word spread into my school that this girl sees palms, and my teachers would call me over to the staff room to show me their palms, and that was a very interesting kind of feeling that I used to get through that. And whatever little I knew, I would tell them that this is how your life is going to shape up, and they would ask me about their problems also. So I did not know why these things were happening. By that time, I was taking things very lightly, but then I think my interest in palmistry started growing much more. Later on, when I took admission to my science college, I went to buy books on my subject. At that time, I realized that I wanted to buy more books on palmistry because I thought I want to learn more about the subject. So the second book that I bought on palmistry was having knowledge about numerology also. That was a wonderful book by a very big author, Kiro. You must have heard. So I bought the book and I started reading about palmistry and also about numerology. So the journey started expanding from thereafter, and then I got interested in learning about astrology when I was just in my 20s, early 20s. So I bought books on astrology also, and I was more intrigued in learning astrology because I felt that whenever I used to tell things to people, they would get connected to me, they would get lots of peace talking to me. Somewhere or the other, I always felt that I have a connection with people. So then I got married at a very early age. I was just 23 when I had gotten married, and I shifted from Punjab to Delhi. So we stayed in Delhi for 5 years. My in-laws, they were very unconventional people but very loving people. They did not believe in all these things, and one fine day when I was walking outside my colony, I met a lady in my neighborhood who was talking very highly of Reiki healings. She had learnt it from some renowned person in Delhi, and at that time this Reiki word clicked me, and I was so much attracted towards it that I really wanted to learn it. But I knew that my in-laws are not going to allow me to learn this subject because for them these were all very strange things. So I thought, I think the seed was planted then inside me, and I made up my mind that sometime in my life I'm definitely going to learn Reiki. So at that time I let it be. Then later on we shifted to Gurgaon 5 years after staying in Delhi. So in Gurgaon, when my second child was born, I had a short stint with teaching also. Then I joined insurance company also as a financial advisor because my kids were young and I wanted to give them more time. So I thought, being a insurance person, I would be able to have flexible timing and I can do justice to my work and my children. But that time also my interests were lying somewhere else. I was not enjoying this insurance industry. I was always craving for my spiritual studies, my astrology studies, because by that time I had learned lots of astrology on my own, as I had not found any guru. So I was yearning desperately to find some guru who would teach me astrology. But then suddenly one fine day, I went to a club where we were members of. There, a lady had come to talk about tarot cards. So you would be surprised, by that time I had already bought tarot cards, but I did not know how to interpret through the cards. But it was just giving me lots of peace keeping those cards. So I was very excited, super excited to be a part of that talk show. So I went to the club, and out of those 60 people, she she later on asked that who wants to register for learning tarot cards. So out of those 50, 60 people, I was the only one who registered for learning tarot cards. And during those times, this YouTube, I was not aware of YouTube. It was about 15 years ago. So not much exposure to YouTube and other ways of learning. So I went to her place, and in 2 days' time, I learned good amount of tarot from her. And her way of teaching was very unique. She told me to pull out the cards and write down the meanings. So I found it very strange. I thought she would be teaching me the meanings. So, but I let it be the way she told me to do. So I started pulling out the cards and writing down the meanings through my intuition. So by the end of the day, she told me that whatever meanings you have, we then studied each card one by one with her. So she told me whatever meanings I had interpreted were quite the same as she was going to explain to me. So that gave me lots of confidence. And she told me that you are definitely going to make it big in this world. So then I was super excited. And I got to know through her that she was also a Reiki master. You can understand my happiness knew no bounds. and I told her that Guruji, please teach me Reiki. I had been wanting to learn Reiki from so long, and today I have found the Guru in you. Then she told me to come to her place next weekend. So tarot and Reiki happened simultaneously. I went to her place and she taught me level 1 of Reiki. Then I learned level 2 of Reiki. And then something went wrong with her. Then I had to change my guru and I learned level 3 and 4 of Reiki. And then I became a Reiki master. So after learning Reiki, my life took a complete different turn. And I think I realized that I was connecting very well with the spiritual world and I was enjoying every single bit of it. And I then decided that I am not going to pursue insurance anymore. I left it the same year when I had learned tarot, and I did uh, lots of stalls and everything where I built lots of clients for through my tarot cards. And then people started coming over to my place for consultations. And then I would also tell them that I am a healer, and people, when people come to you for astrological readings or for tarot card readings, they always want to look for some healings. So I would suggest them Reiki healings, and they would get wonderful results through my Reiki healings. At that time, see, in tarot there are not great ways to give healings, so I felt that tarot is a great way to suggest healings. And I have had very sorry Reiki is a wonderful way to suggest healings. So I have had wonderful experiences through Reiki energies. Like I have healed cancer patients, depression patients, patients who are having emotional issues, relationship issues. So many problems would get healed through Reiki. So my belief in Reiki started growing many folds. And then my family members who were initially not very like supportive of this, they became extremely supportive, and they started encouraging me to pursue these things. And when they also saw the effect of Reiki energies on them, they realized that Reiki is something very, very interesting and a big thing. My husband learned Reiki from me, my children learned Reiki from me, and they also started believing in these energies. So then after learning Reiki, simultaneously I started getting chances to learn other forms of healing also. Then I learned EFT, that is emotional freedom technique. That is a very interesting way to heal based upon certain points where we do the tapping and the healing happens with some affirmations that we have to say. So after learning EFT, I got to learn reflexology. Then I learned pranic healing. I learned angel healings. So, but let me tell you, even after learning so many modules of healings, I was interested more towards Reiki only. So, I continued with my Reiki healings, advanced healings of Reiki, and it would give me wonderful results. Then I also got interested towards learning hypnotherapy. So, I bought books on my own and started reading and trying it on out on my friends, and I would get very good results. But then once or twice I had gotten stuck with my hypnotherapy when I saw a patient getting a little bit jittery. So I immediately brought her back. So had I done it professionally, I would not have gotten this kind of experience. But from that day onward, I thought that I will learn it professionally first, and then I will do it on my clients. Then luckily, I think God has been very kind, and I found a teacher, Dr. Sunil Prasad, from whom I learned clinical hypnotherapy. He is associated with California Institute of Hypnotherapy, and from him I learned complete clinical hypnotherapy in 2018. And after that, it has been no looking back. It's a beautiful form of healing and a very, very powerful form of healing where we use the mind to heal the problems of a person, because our mind is not what we see. It is only 20% of that we are using, but 80% of our mind is very powerful. It is having memories of our past lives, of our current life also. So we have to tap the mind, and we can do excellent healings. So those people who are having problems which are not treatable through medical science, they can benefit a lot through hypnotherapy. So this is how my journey has been so far, and I'm enjoying every bit of it.
Thank you, Manisha, for such an exhaustive description of your journey. And there are a lot of terms which came during our conversation. And you said that our brain carries the memories of the past lives. So, as we believe in reincarnation, and so all these sciences or techniques which you learned, like astrology and Reiki and chakra healing and hypnosis, past life regression, and meditation, all these means are actually to look inside a person's memories and karmas from the previous lives. This is what you try to say. So, what is actually Reiki? Because you talked so highly about it. Can we discuss a little more about Reiki? I don't know anything about it.
Yes, I'll tell you about this. See, Reiki was rediscovered by Dr. Mikao Usui. It's basically made up of two words, Re and Ki. Re means universe and Ki means energies. So it is the energies of the universe that we invoke within us, and through those energies we are healing others. So it's all about positive energies. So why I say it is rediscovered, because it was initially there in the Indian scriptures also. If you go to the history, you will read that Lord Rama also was using Reiki energies only when he brought back Ahilya from being a stone to life. She was cursed by her husband Rishi Gautami, and for many years she became a stone, and Lord Rama touched her and brought her back to life. So that was only through the healing energies of Reiki only. Well, the name must have been something else, but it was Reiki energies only. Then readings about Guru Nanak Dev Ji, he would also heal people through beaming of energies or by contacting through touch, and he would heal people. Then Sai Baba Ji would also heal people through beaming of Reiki energies or through contact. So this is how they were also using in the Indian mythology. Now, if we talk about Dr. Mikao Usui, he was a very big time doctor, and he was inclined to use spiritual energies in healings alongside the medical energies. So he learned Reiki through Buddhist monks from Mount Kurama in Japan. From there, he learned Reiki energies, and then he started pursuing it. So so the history is quite big about this, but let's come back to the point that how we heal through Reiki energies. So first of all, that you have to have that intention to heal somebody. Unless you are having that intention, you cannot heal anyone. So first of all, you have to be compassionate enough, you have to be willing to heal that person. Then you have to be very very positive and clean from inside. Only then you will be able to heal others. If you are having toxins, if you are having negativity, if you are having negative thoughts, then you cannot be a good healer. So we have to first go to a Reiki teacher to get our attunements, and in the attunements they are using certain symbols which are very very sacred symbols, and they will draw those symbols on our crown chakra, that is here in the center of the head, then on our third eye chakra, then on our throat chakra, and then on our heart chakra. So they will draw those symbols, and after that we become attuned to Reiki energies, and then we are taught some mantras through which we invoke those energies within us, and the energies will enter through our crown chakra, and then they will go to our heart chakra. From the heart chakra they will come back to our palms, and we can do contact healings or beamings, or we can send healing energies through our third eye also. And here the distance does not matter. You can send healings across anywhere in the universe. If somebody is sitting in America and in the middle of the night, if they request you for healing energies, suppose they are having some headache or any other kind of discomfort, somebody calls you in the middle of the night, you can still give them Reiki energies and it will heal the person in no matter of time. So I have been teaching people to become Reiki channels. I have many students who have learned Reiki from me, and I have been also healing people through this. So it's basically using the energies of the universe inside us, and through those energies we heal people. So it's just like see, you all must have done an experiment when you were young, when we would focus the rays of the sun through a mirror and the rays would burn the paper. So the rays of the sun, when they enter through a specific point, they become very, very powerful. They're able to burn that paper. So high are the energies of the sun. Similarly, when you invoke the energies of the universe, we are just a tiny dot inside the big universe. So imagine what amount of energy is entering into us and what capacity we have to heal people. So it's all about positivity. And another thing that you should keep in mind is that your energy levels should always be higher than the one who has come to you for learning Reiki. Because if you are the channel and your energy levels are low, you cannot be able to heal others, because energy always travels from higher source to lower source. So if your energy is little bit depleted and you are sending energies to the other person, a time will come that the person's energy will start transferring into your body. So there could be energy exchange. So better not to give during that time if you are feeling low. And the most important thing to keep in mind is that if you have learned Reiki, you have to continue with your meditational practice or with your Reiki energy practice every day, so that your energy levels are pretty high and you are able to heal others very effectively and very positively. So this is how Reiki works.
Too exhaustive, Manisha. A lot of things to learn from you. Uh, so, how does a person who comes to you would know that, compare the energy levels? How do you know that the person who comes to you has higher or lower energy than you? How can
Yeah,
your client find out?
I will just tell you. Okay, they don't need to find out because I know I have higher energies. So what I do is that I have got some dowsing rods through which I check their aura. So aura is basically the energy field around us. So we have 4 layers of energies. The first layer is the mental layer of energies. Then inside is it is the emotional layer of energies. Then after that comes the physical layer, and then comes the spiritual layer. So we have an aura around us, which if it gets depleted due to certain reasons, due to your own negative thinking or due to your negative surroundings or due to any other condition, maybe it could be due to some mishappening that has happened around you, something or the other, your aura starts to get depleted. In that case, you will find that your energy levels are affected. See, it is just like that. Your aura will become weak, and with the dowsing rod, the rods will not open. The rods will start crossing, or they will open this much. So, with that, we come to know that the energies of the person are blocked, they are congested, and the energy is not flowing. And based upon that, we will give healings. So, Reiki is a very holistic way of healing people, because here we are not only healing on a localized problem, but we are healing the person on all the layers. We will first heal the aura of that person, we will clear the aura. After that, we will give energies to that person. We will also remove the blockages from the area where the problem is persisting. We will give healings to his chakras. So a complete healing will happen. Rather, if you go to a doctor, they will just give you healing for the specified problem. If the problem is coming through some emotions, they are not going to treat that. But here we will treat you emotionally, mentally, physically, and spiritually. On all the levels, the healings will happen to the person. And the person, that is the healer who is giving healings, they are also benefited, because the more healings you give, the more energies will enter through you, and first you will get healed, and then the person who has come to you will get healed. So it is both way, a win-win process. So this is how it works. And also there are certain chakras. There are about 140 chakras in all, out of which there are 7 major chakras where we do the healings if the problem is very chronic. In that case, we will do the healings on the chakras, because see, these chakras are the reservoirs of energies. If they get blocked, then the flow of energy will stop. And based upon the chakra, we will decide what the problem is based upon the problem, we'll decide what chakra is blocked. Like if we are talking about the root chakra, it is controlling all the lower extremities of the body. It is controlling the knees. It is controlling your anxiety issues, your confidence. It's also about your lower reproductive system, your urinary system. Then after that comes the Swadhisthana chakra, that is called as the sacral chakra. That is all about your emotional issues, your relationship issues, creativity. So there the reproductive organs and the lower digestive organs are located. So we have to heal that if the problem is according to those areas. Then we have to heal the sacral chakra. Then above that, above the navel comes the Manipur chakra, that is the solar plex chakra, that is yellow in color. That is the third chakra. We have to count it from the bottom. And that chakra is associated with the various organs, like your major organs, like your stomach, your pancreas, your liver, your kidneys. So if the person is having problems related to these organs, then we will also heal the solar plex, solar plex chakra. Then comes the heart chakra, which is in the center of the chest, and that is associated with your emotions, with your immunity. If a person is susceptible to problems of health, he is getting infected very quickly, it means there is blockage in his heart chakra. Then we will heal his heart chakra. And then comes the throat chakra, that is the Vishuddha. So this chakra is having thymus glands here. So if a person is getting misunderstood through his communications, or he is lazy, it means he is having blocked throat chakra. Or he can have problems related to cold, cough very frequently. It means his chakra is weak in energy flow is getting blocked here. So we will first open up the blockages, and then we will put energy of Reiki, and that is how the healing will happen. So this chakra is also associated with your throat and with your shoulders, with your arms, with your communication abilities. Then comes the third eye chakra, that is the Ajna chakra. And this chakra is all about your intuition, your focus, your professional success. A lot of people come with their professional problems. So we focus on their third eye chakra, and we give healings to that. Sometimes somebody is having eyesight related problems, somebody is having sinus related problems, migraine related issues, tooth related problems, ear related problems. They all are associated with the third eye chakra. Then comes the crown chakra. This is the crown chakra. This is the last chakra. It's all about Vibgyor, violet indigo. So violet color will start from here. This is indigo, blue, green, yellow, orange, and red. So this is how the color system is located. So this is the crown chakra. This is associated with your intelligence, right and left hemisphere of the brain. So if the person is having problems in his learnings, in his creativity, in his intelligence, or the person is not very spiritual, this is also the area of your spirituality. So then we will remove the blockages of that chakra. Also we can see the aura energies through our palms also, by just scanning, and we come to know which area is blocked. We happen to feel vibrations. So if the vibrations are there, it means the chakra energy is fine. If the vibrations are not happening, it means it is blocked, and then we give healings to specific chakras. This is how it is working.
Exhaustive and too much to learn. There are many people who are writing some messages for you. I will just display on the screen.
Thank you, Shoma.
Pandit. Yeah.
Glad to see. Thank you, Rita. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Ji. Thank you. That is Shanta Verma. Thank you. Thank you, Shoma.
So would you like to share some interesting incident of healing somebody which you remember you would like to share with us?
Yes, there are many incidents. I will like to tell you about Reiki first, then we'll come to the hypnotherapy also,
Yeah.
because I'm very excited to tell about that also. So first I'll talk about my Reiki experience. That was in my very initial days of learning. So that gave me lots of confidence. When I had learned Reiki initially, there was a child in my neighborhood. He was not very good with studies, and his mother, he was her mother was sending him to me to take some tuitions. During that time I would also love to teach. So he was a not so bright child, so she said that please heal my son, and I want to see him become a very good person in studies. So I gave him healing for 20 days. He came to me regularly, and after that suddenly his grades started shooting up, and he got very good grades, and he started suddenly showing lots of interest in healings. And all I was doing was working on his chakras. So I knew that the solar plex chakra, that is above the navel, is the area of your learnings. So if it is blocked, the person will not be keen on learnings, the person will not be fond of learning new things. So I removed the negativity from his solar plex, and I gave him lots of healings on all other chakras also. I balanced his crown chakra, which is about the learnings, right hemisphere, and the left hemisphere is about the logical learning, and the right is about your creative. So I balanced his crown chakra also. Besides, I gave healings to other chakras, and after 20 days of healing, she told me that his grades have improved and he started showing lots of interest in studies. That was my initial experience. Then during my initial days, there was a lady who had breast cancer. So her daughter brought her to me. She was not a very well off person. So she said that my mom is having lots of problems. She, despite taking medicines, she is going through lots of pain, and I thought I would get her healed through you. Probably this can help her. So I did her healings, and after that she got very positive results. And the interesting thing that I want to tell you is that whenever she used to have shooting pain due to cancer, uh, the medicine would not work. She would call me over for healings, and after 10 minutes or 15 minutes of healing, she would tell me that the pain has subsided, and I'm feeling very positive about that. So my confidence in Reiki started increasing day by day. Then I have also formed a group of my Reiki students on WhatsApp, and we give distance healings to people who are in great need. Somebody is going through some surgery, or somebody is very critical. We just send distance healings together, and that is having a great exponential effect. So there was a person who was diagnosed with brain tumor, and he was supposedly getting operated after a week's time. So our group started giving healings to him through his photograph on the WhatsApp. And later on, after a week's time, when he went to see his doctor, the doctor said that the tumor has gone. It is only of very small bean size. It doesn't require any kind of surgery. So that was a great news for all of us, that we were able to heal him through distance healings. And this is how my interest in Reiki started growing many folds. There are many episodes which I can describe here, but these are the ones which I cannot forget.
Wonderful. So you can move to the next topic which you wanted to share so eagerly about hypno.
Yeah, see,
I'm very excited
hypnotherapy.
to hear about it.
Yes. See, I wanted to learn hypnotherapy because there are certain people who have very typical kind of problems. For that, sometimes Reiki doesn't work because they are very apprehensive about Reiki energies. They cannot trust Reiki. So the person who is coming to you also has to have trust. So I thought probably I should be having another module of healing, which is much more powerful and stronger. uh, then I started practicing hypnotherapy. I'll tell you how it works. So see, basically we have got two minds. One is our conscious mind, which is 20% of what we think, and rest is our subconscious mind, which is about 80% effective. So all the body functions are happening through our subconscious mind only. You are not telling your subconscious mind to digest food or to reproduce or to do any other thing. It is having mind of its own. It is very very powerful. So whatever affirmations you give to your subconscious mind, they are able to bring forth, they are able to materialize, manifest those things very effectively. So I had this belief, and hypnotherapy is based upon this only. So in hypnotherapy, the rest of the 80% of the mind, which is your subconscious mind, it is having files of your past life and of your current life's past also. So all the files are present there, all the memories are present here. We are living just part of our past life to uh, uh, to balance the karma. So this is one life that we are living to balance one of our past lives. So we are carrying on the impressions of many lives, and those impressions are stored in the subconscious mind. When we sleep, the memories of the day, they are also filtered, and the important memories will get stored in your subconscious mind, and the remaining which are not important, they will just move off. So when somebody comes for hypnotherapy, we take them to, first of all, we will do a cognitive session. Through there we come to know what kind of problem the person is having. If he is having a problem which is related to his past, or which is related to his current life, or which is just a fear, or which is just a spirit attachment. So there are many kinds of problems. So after doing the cognitive session, we take them to trance in the next session, where
There
we
are,
open up. Yeah.
sorry to interrupt you. There are some viewers requesting you to talk a little slowly because they are not getting what you're saying.
Okay.
Just go a little slow so that everybody can
Oh, okay. I
understand.
thought maybe the time is
No, no, no.
getting.
You take your time, but yeah, go slowly. Some people are
Okay.
unable to
Okay.
follow.
So I'll repeat that hypnotherapy is a very powerful way of healing because it works on your subconscious mind. Your subconscious mind is having the files of your past life, of your current life, past events also. So based upon the kind of problem you are having, we will do your cognitive session first, and then we will understand where the problem is coming from. After we have understood the problem, we will take you to trance in the second session, which is of hypnotherapy. There we will open one of your files. You will only be the person who is going to do everything. We are just going to guide you through the process, and you will open up that file or folder. In that, the issue will be resolved through the healing technique. So it's a very powerful technique which works on your subconscious mind. So it's just like affirmation. You are doing it consciously. You are telling yourself that such and such things I want to have it in my life. So in hypnotherapy, we are doing it straight away to your subconscious mind. So imagine how powerful it is that you do not have to do things repeatedly. Somebody, say, is having a smoking addiction or alcohol addiction, they can benefit 100% out of hypnotherapy. Somebody is having fear phobias, these fears could be coming through your birth also. It means they are associated with your past life. They can be healed. Some people can be feeling very nauseatic in sitting in a car, or somebody could be having fear of heights or any other problem. They can also be healed through hypnotherapy. Somebody is going through depression, that can be healed through hypnotherapy. Somebody is very suicidal, that can also be healed through hypnotherapy. Or somebody is having a very bad memory, he is not able to remember things. For that we have 100% cure through hypnotherapy. Imagine, these are the things for which there is no medical cure. You go to a doctor, you go to a psychologist, they will keep on calling you for sessions and sessions, and they will keep on giving you medicines, but there is going to be no permanent cure. But in hypnotherapy, we can cure you 100%. But there is again a condition associated with this. That is that you have to have faith in the subject, and you have to surrender. You have to trust the healer, and you have to feel uh, at peace. There are many people in my initial days of hypnotherapy sessions, I found that there were certain people who were very jittery, who were not getting pacified, and they were very anxious people. So uh, those people could not be healed through hypnotherapy. So I would straight away tell them that this is not going to work unless you become calm and quiet. If you are going to be so anxious, I am not able to I will not be able to regress you. So this doesn't work on everybody who are very anxious. First of all, you have to learn to be pacified. So the suggestion for you is that if you want to come for a hypnotherapy session, start doing meditations just 1 month prior to that, because if you start practicing peace meditation, you will be able to calm your mind, and then you will be able to easily get regressed, and you can benefit a lot through hypnotherapy. So I have had very good results of spirit attachments also. There have been cases where the person was having many spirits attached to his body, and they could be easily removed by the use of hypnotherapy. A lot of people have benefited through their depression because of the loss of somebody in their lives. They fell into depression, and now they are completely out of it through the hypnotherapy sessions. A lot of people are holding guilt in their body, in their minds, so that can also be healed very easily by the use of hypnotherapy. You can also know about your past if you are more intrigued about the subject, but you have to have that willingness to go into the past. Unless you are having that willingness, you cannot, this thing will not work for you. So you have to be having willing to know. And also this can tell you about your future also. We can take you to progression, where we can show you what are the two life paths that you can choose from. So one we are already living, and everybody is having another life path. So we can take them 10 years ahead from now, and they can judge, they can decide which life path is more suitable for them.
So
And
there's
this
a
can also,
so there's a related question somebody is asking. I will read for you. It's by Boriana. She writes, the episode is great. Thank you. I have some questions. Is there something a person can do to keep his or her chakras in balance? You already said it, you can say briefly again. And is there a way to know something about your past lives without hypnotherapy? Are you interested what your next life will be? So she's talking about how to know about past lives without hypnotherapy and about next life.
see, this can be done, but for that you have to be a accomplished meditator. If you are doing meditations every day, there will be a time that you are able to sit for hours together in complete meditation. And I have seen a lot of people going back to their past and going further into progression and see their future. So you have to be able to sit in deep meditation to be able to see this, or to be able to have this experience. Yes, this is definitely possible, but for a layman, for a normal person, they will need the help of a hypnotherapist.
So, Boriana, I think you've got your answer. You need to do a lot of meditation to uh, get your answers without hypnotherapy. So that's very too much of information you have, and everything looks so much interconnected.
Yes,
Okay,
definitely.
yeah. So do you have some special thing which you want to share with our viewers today, apart
See,
from this hypnotherapy and chakras? Is there some special message?
yeah, definitely. See, the message for all of you is that always stay happy and always stay hopeful about what you want to do. And see, there is a thing about life is that if you, whatever you think, you will manifest that. So if you think negative, if you think fearful, you are going to manifest that very easily in your life. A lot of people do not realize that they are fearful about many things, they are worried about many things. See, if you worry, it means you are taking charge on in your hands. You do not trust the energies of nature. You do not trust the energies of God. Just leave everything to God, and always think on positive terms, and think that yes, this thing, this wish is going to get manifested in some way or the other. Nature knows how to manifest that. It is not that if you want something in the shape of X, if it is not coming, it will come in the shape of Y, but it will definitely come. But you have to stay positive. And if you stop thinking negative thoughts, then you will be able to materialize your wishes very, very easily and very comfortably. So stay positive, stay passionate, and stay hopeful. That is my guidance to all of you.
So, Manisha, I think I should, as soon as I travel to India, whenever, I should see you to get more guidance or various issues.
Sure, sure. You are most welcome.
And we spoke about your music interest also. So, would you like to sing two lines for any song which you like?
See, my
Without music,
throat is in.
we don't have any music, but if you want to, this is the good platform for you, and our viewers would love to hear.
Well, I had not prepared any song, but I can just sing two lines. My throat is in very bad shape, let me tell you. Anyhow, आदमी मुसाफिर है, आता है जाता है, आते जाते रस्ते में यादें छोड़ जाता है, झोंका हवा का पानी का रेला मेले में रह जाए जो अकेला, फिर वो अकेला ही रह जाता है, आदमी मुसाफिर है.
Wonderful. You have such gifted voice. And we have one person, he's also a great musician, and he's asking a question to you. So we will not let you go without us answering the question. He says, very informative, one question. If you have had a bad day and if you are the Reiki master, and if you have appointments for giving Reiki, then does your bad mood affect your vibrations?
A very nice question. See, yes, definitely I do have bad days, but luckily after learning Reiki, I do not feel bad days at all. So even if something wrong is happening, it doesn't affect me because I have been healing my heart chakra. So if your heart chakra is strong, you will not take things very strongly, and you will always take things as they are. So it doesn't affect me much. So my healings are not affected, but I usually do not give healings when I'm myself busy with my work. Like I told you that I also do astrology, and sometimes I am overloaded with the client's charts. During that time, I would just postpone because I know I'm not in that frame of mind to do healings. So other than that, nothing affects me because I do regular healings and I do regular meditations also.
I hope Anand would have got his answer. So, thank you, Manisha, for coming to the show and sharing such insightful information with all of us. Keep doing what you are doing. I wish you all the success and all the best in whatever you do in life.
Thank you, Vivekji. Thank you so much for inviting me here, and thank you, Bharat FM.
It was our pleasure.
Thank you to all the viewers also. Thank you so much.
This was a mind-blowing session with Monisha Bhatia. With the change in weather, many people get headaches, which are quite painful and annoying. So I asked Dr. Abhishek Mishra, who is an Ayurvedic doctor based in Sofia, Bulgaria, to share some home remedies to get rid of the headaches. So here he's joining us.
Hello friend, namaskar. Today I'll talk about how to cure headache. Few quick remedies to cure your headache without taking painkiller or analgesics. First, ginger is the best painkiller. So what you do, take fresh ginger, cut in small pieces, 8 to 10, take some salt and eat it. It works immediately as a painkiller. You will see within few minutes your headache is gone. If you want, you can repeat it again in 1 or 2 hours. If you have a repeat tendency to get headache, take it regularly. You will see almost your headaches are gone. Second, many times your headaches are because of blocked sinus. So when you have sinus is the cause for headache, this eucalyptus oil, put 2 to 3 drops of eucalyptus oil in hot water, boiling water, and take steam. So if you do it every day, you will see your sinuses are clean and your headache is gone. Then rosemary oil. This rosemary is a very effective analgesic, and it works immediately like a painkiller. So you can dilute 2 to 3 drops of rosemary oil in coconut oil and do head massage. Just like rosemary oil, lavender oil works also the same. You can use lavender oil directly. So you can put 2 to 3 drops in a piece of cloth or in the hand towel and smell it. So the smell of lavender oil cures immediately from the severe or moderate severe headaches immediately. Also, peppermint oil is very good. You can put peppermint oil few drops in, for example 2-3 drops in 1 tablespoon of coconut oil and do head massage. So these are the few tricks. It works immediately and you don't need painkiller. Also, cold water shower or washing your head or putting cold water on your head works immediately to relieve pain. You also can soak your foot in warm water, comfortable warm water, and it works immediately. It releases the tension. So there are many reasons why headache happens, but these are the few quick remedies will cure you immediately and you don't need painkiller.
So I hope this was a very useful information by Dr. Abhishek Mishra, and please do use these remedies and give your feedback to us. So before we end, I would just like to share a very small story. And so once there was a professor. He entered a classroom and he said, we are going to have a surprise test. And all the students, they got very jittery and they thought, oh, we have not prepared how we are going to take this test. And he said, don't worry. This is anyhow not from any syllabus. So he started distributing the question papers and he asked the students that don't look at the question paper till I finish distributing to everyone. So he distributed and then he asked everybody to see what is the question. And when all the students, they saw the question, they were surprised. The question paper was totally blank. There was one small black dot. And one student, he got up and he said, there's no question here. There's only one dot. What can I do? So the professor replied, he said, this is the question. Do whatever you want to do, whatever you want to explain. This is your test. So all the students, and he said, you have got only 10 minutes to do so. So all the students, they started writing whatever was coming to their mind to explain what they think about the black dot, what the philosophy and how they think. So after 10 minutes, all the students, they submitted their paper to the professor. And then when professor saw all the answer sheets, he was very surprised that most of the people, they have explained about the black dot, what they think about the black dot. And he was surprised that nobody has written anything about the white space, which was actually occupying 99% of the space. So he went back to the students and he said that I gave you a question paper, which there was a black dot, which took only 1% of the area. 99% area was white, but none of you gave any attention to the white space. And he said, this is the lesson of life. Most of us who are here, they just focus on the 1% of the problems in their life. They spend 100% of their time, energies, emotions, thinking about the 1% of the small problems which are bothering them. And those problems can be something is worried about the studies, somebody is worried about the money, somebody is worried about the career, and nobody is giving any attention to their blessings. So he said, I want to tell everybody that count your blessings. You have food on your table, you have a wonderful family, and you have a good health. So don't worry about other small things, and don't take those small worries, take your peace of life, count your blessings. So I would like to add one more thought in this, that when you see something very beautiful in someone, tell them. It may take 1 second to say, but for them, it could last a lifetime. So, with these thoughts, I would sign off today. Have a great weekend. Next week, I will be here again with another friend. Till then, take a good care of yourself and your family. God bless you all.
ॐ असतो मा सद्गमय तमसो मा ज्योतिर्गमय मृत्युर्मामृतङ्गमय ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः